Today is the 20th of September, 2014, and this is episode 146. This program is intended for informational and educational purposes only. Cryptocurrency is new, highly experimental, and we're not experts, just obsessed companions walking the road towards a more peer-to-peer future. Welcome to Let's Talk Bitcoin, a twice-weekly show about the ideas, people, and projects building the digital economy and the future of money. My name is Adam B. Levine, and today we're all about tokens. Stephanie recently caught up with Aaron, the mind behind the BitFilm Festival, now in its 14th year. They talk bowler hats, tokens, and more. But first, I'd like to tell you the story of token-controlled viewpoint. Token-controlled access, or TCA, is a simple idea. In a given system, different levels of access to that system and abilities within it are granted according to the combination of tokens in a particular user's address. Token-controlled viewpoint, or TCV, is an application of token-controlled access to information content such as forums, posts, comments, bonus content, bloopers, walkthroughs, tips, tweets, supplemental blogs, RSS feeds, and for other purposes. Each piece of information or block of information is associated with a token, with one or more tokens and a variable quantity of each. If the quantity is 0, then the information is viewable to users with or without an account. If the quantity required is more than 0, the information isn't loaded unless the addresses associated with that user contain the required access token. Working in the cryptocurrency space is like building an enormous mansion, one room at a time. During construction, it's difficult to see what comes next, and each time we install a new window, it provides an opportunity to poke one's head through it and see what we'll be building next. At letstalkbitcoin.com, we ask our users to give us a counterwallet.co address. Every Saturday, we send their share of the LTB coin weekly participation rewards to that address. From there, they can do whatever they want with it. They can use it in auctions to bid on a variety of things. They can trade it, buy a stone sink with it, or they can speculate on its future value. But currently, that's about it. A few months ago, one of the developers in the LTB community, Joe Looney, created a tool that lets users easily check the LTB coin balance of a username on Let's Talk Bitcoin with a single click. The first version used scraped data from user profile pages, but the LTB platform is designed to embrace this sort of synergistic development, which is why we hook them up with our official API. This was a cool tool, a novelty really, but it reminded me of our ability to programmatically look at user balances and see what they have. We don't need to hold any control or responsibility whatsoever in order to see the contents. Since the relaunch of Let's Talk Bitcoin, we've introduced a somewhat bare-bones forum where our community has coalesced. When I create a community, I look for eager participants and give them responsibilities. One such user with the handle Matt created a token called Jedi and started handing it out. He's quietly growing the cult of the token through a new method he's pioneering called asset-based puzzles, or ABPs. And what does every secret society or private clubhouse truly desire? Privacy. Invisibility in plain sight. Operational security without the inconvenience. And Matt's not the only one. Xavier Hawk of permacredits.com has been on me for a private forum from where he can plot permaculture's ascension into the halls of power. In the LTB Coin Skype chat, Xavier said, quote, "I was just having a convo about a secret crypto society where you need to be given a specific token to get in, a private forum. And I realized that we can actually do that right now." So it took 2 months longer than I thought it would, and that's, again, partly my fault because I continue to pile on more projects that we're working on. But the tools are all there. Counterwallet is a multi-wallet, so you can have as many tokens of as many kinds as you want. It really doesn't matter. Before something like Counterwallet, you could have done binary access, where if someone has a certain amount of Bitcoin, well, then that's fine. Or maybe you'd look at another altcoin, maybe you'd look at Litecoin and see how many Litecoin they had. But it would take a different blockchain and a lot of different process for each individual thing. But the ability to have a single blockchain that has many, many tokens on it means you have basically the same cost as you would for just running Bitcoin. There's no downside to having as many tokens in play as we want. We just watch one address per user, and whatever tokens are in their wallet dictate what they can or can't see. This tool could be designed to deliver multi-level access where certain subcommunities' information on the forum is controlled in a hierarchical, distributed fashion. A legacy system has the intelligence seated at the top of a hierarchy, automation serving to perform the will of the intelligence at the human level. This is why when legacy companies make cuts for efficiency, they tend to cut at the edges of the network. Low-level humans are the least valuable and most easily replaced parts, while to trim from the brain is to cripple your decision-making capacity, which no intelligent organism would willfully do. This all changed when Bitcoin introduced the idea of autonomous distributed consensus. automation at the center of the network, and intelligence at the edges. Token-controlled viewpoint, or TCV, represents this concept applied to information access. In a legacy structure, there's always a master control. In the new paradigm, with tools like MaidSafe and storage on the horizon, systems are within sight to power the first fully decentralized society, as niche as you want to be. You're 100% in control while using the common infrastructure that nurtures, protects, and enables it all. We all are. One of my favorite sayings is eccentricity requires privacy. If you're going to be weird, you need to be able to be alone, or at least with a smaller group that you feel comfortable with. Doing stuff that's new and doing stuff that appears to be odd requires the ability to block out the rest of the world that simply doesn't get it so that you can work on it until it's to the point where they do. This is really the vision here. Users would need to acquire various assets to attain access to certain levels of information within a given subcommunity. Here we could have thousands of private subcommunities, each with their own token. Users visiting the page would see only the public boards plus their token viewpoints. If they want to increase their viewpoints, simply acquire tokens from the organization's or public-private market. I realize this might not fit all situations, but counterparty assets can be callable. Therefore, it's quite possible to have moderation abilities even with untrustworthy parties in the mix. And further to this point, token-controlled access is comprised of two basic parts. One part is played by the Bitcoin network and the counterparty protocol. That handles all of the coin stuff, all of the administration, all of the wallets, all of the asset management. Anything that's happening, it's happening through counterparty. All that the Let's Talk Bitcoin platform does is it interpolates that data. It recognizes certain tokens that people have configured within our system, and then it grants permissions to people who have those based on the rules as they're configured. So if you have someone who has your token, but they consistently break the rules, well, they still have an account with the website that they need to associate their address with. So someone still can be banned. They still can be removed from circulation. If we can control what forms are seen, why not apply this to read-write access on a thread-by-thread basis? Why not a post-by-post basis? The default can be full visibility or one token visibility, but this system allows granular control over how invested one must be to view certain content. And again, don't think about this like people without tokens come and they see a bunch of locked content. That's not the case. When they arrive lacking the token, they simply do not see the content as though it never existed for them. So wait, aren't secret societies bad? Okay, so it gets a little creepy at the end, but it proves the point. Right now, something like this would need to be centrally managed by a person or a small group, granting and repealing permissions for all subgroups. The subgroups necessarily require the consent in advance of the higher structure to be able to function, and the higher structure has abilities that replace and supersede those of the lower. So the lower only really has power when the higher isn't paying attention. And that's just not the case here. In this case, we've segmented the powers. With a token-based infrastructure, the platform is a service provider rather than a master. Private boards by default aren't even accessible by administrators since the information is locked through a different method, the token control, that administrative authority is granted. With a token-based infrastructure, information is only loaded based on the contents of a user's wallet. Because we use token technology, this means that access can be traded as easily as Bitcoins, and provides a very interesting, almost entirely non-monetary use of cryptocurrency technology that we can use right now. But let's take a look at this from a slightly less creepy angle. For example, let's look at our front page in blogs. So, scenario A. A random reader visits the front page of letstalkbitcoin.com. They see the front page exactly as it is now. Hopefully they enjoy the content and sign up for an account so we can give them their share of LTBcoin, but nothing really has changed for them. Scenario B. Users visit the front page of letstalkbitcoin.com. They have an account configured properly in a wallet with 100 LTBcoin in it. They're greeted by a version of the page that contains additional content relevant to our users. They visit the same URL, but they see more. Scenario C. A user visits the front page of letstalkbitcoin.com. They have an account properly configured and a wallet with 1,000 LTBcoin in it. They see a version of the page not only containing the public and general user content, but also discussions on the future of the website. Perhaps they'll see polls asking them to vote on a particular decision or announcements regarding recent developments. We probably won't want to scale this too much, but it demonstrates the time value effect to potential users. Scenario D. User visits a content page on letstalkbitcoin.com. They have 100 LTBcoin in their account, plus the author's access token. They can see everything as before, but they also see the companion blog post written by the author about that particular piece of content. This could be a video blog or bonus material that didn't fit into the story. This system allows anyone to have a subscription-based fan section for every story they post, which is only shown to those people who are actual fans. If you ever wanted a bloopers section without embarrassing yourself in front of the world, this is probably a good way to do it. So what about sharing? Right now this isn't in, but non-public items will be shareable in the future. Without appropriate access to a piece of content, readers will be redirected to a page explaining why, kind of like what Bitwall did, where the page gives examples essentially of how they can gain access, such as through tweeting or wait a certain amount of time, perform certain actions, or perhaps even have just a direct pass-through cost so the content can be consumed a la carte. The important thing is that gaining access is put into the user's hands. So I'd like to introduce token societies. This project got started about 2.5 months ago, and I've been incredibly excited about it because I think that even though this initial rollout is not so big, I think that this is an important step forward. So I mentioned before that there aren't too many uses for LT Bitcoin. So I'm pleased to introduce token societies, new from letstalkbitcoin.com. You can now set up your own token on the counterparty system, and in exchange for 50,000 LT Bitcoin or 0.1 of a Bitcoin, have a lifetime lease on your own token society. Only holders of your designated token will be able to see it, and you have complete control over the asset. The process is automated and requires no authorization, although you are de facto agreeing to our baseline set of rules if you set one up, which means no illegal stuff, no porn, all of these other things. Outside of that, content agnostic completely, and the control is entirely in your hands. This is the latest in a long line of tools we're rolling out, and as they come out, the picture is becoming more complete. We're seeing really where we're going. And while I'm not going to share that today, I do want to emphasize that token-controlled access and token-controlled viewpoint really can be about everything, right on down to granting powers to publish on the front page of letstalkbitcoin.com. I'm almost done here, but as a special bonus, if you're already signed up on letstalkbitcoin.com and you've already set up your CounterWallet account, check your wallet. You should have an early token, and that early token will give you access to the Founder Forum. The Founder Forum is one of our first token-controlled access forums, and again, it's nothing special, it's just a place for us to talk. But there are only 2,400, actually 2,401, of these tokens in existence. They were created and given to all the people who already had accounts, and then the asset was locked. So this forum, in order to gain access to it as we continue to grow in popularity and we continue to grow the audience that we're speaking to, people who want to be in the Founder Forum will have to acquire one of these tokens from someone who did. So you might not want to give it up too soon. Also in the future, we'll be using it to roll out some early features. So that's about all here. There's a lot more to go into detail on this, but I think I've overloaded people enough. We're going to quickly go to break, and then we'll bounce over to Stephanie as she speaks with Aaron of bitfilm.com. Thanks for your time. This episode is brought to you by CryptoKit.com. We'll be starting full sponsorships again soon, so stay tuned. Today's magic word is VIEW. That's VIEW. You've got until the 24th of September to visit letstalkbitcoin.com and enter the magic words for your share of the listener rewards. Back to the show.
Welcome to Let's Talk Bitcoin. This is Stephanie reporting, and I'm here today with Aaron Koenig.
Very good. Very good.
I tried to give the authentic German pronunciation to his name because he is based in Berlin. And actually, he's quite active in the Berlin Bitcoin community. But he doesn't only do that. He does a lot of other things. He's a filmmaker. He's been doing that for, I think, what is it, 14 or 15 years, and has been running a film festival called the Bit Film Festival. And that's what we're kind of here to talk about today, because they've got a token that they're rolling out to manage various aspects of the film festival. But Aaron, first, I want to welcome you to Let's Talk Bitcoin. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So how long have you been making short movies?
Yeah, I started out in university. And with Super 8, very old-fashioned analog technology. And then since 94, I'm in the creative internet industry, mostly designing, conceiving websites. And in 99, I started my company BitFilm to combine these two passions for film and interactive new media. And we tried out different things. Between film and new media, we had a community platform for filmmakers, which was never really big business. And we did some rights stealing and all that. And I think it's only since, I would say 2.5 years that we really focus on production. And it happens that now most of our clients are Bitcoin startups. So maybe they like the name or they like what we do about films about Bitcoin.
So it's been called BitFilm since the beginning, your company?
Yeah, it's not a very original name. It just stands for digital film. It's I think the most obvious name you can take for. And I was surprised that the domain was not taken then. But cool. Back in '99, most domains were still free. So now we have it since then. And my interest in Bitcoin, I mean, it's kind of a coincidence, but maybe also not. Maybe I remember I made a film when I was in Brazil at the film school about money. It's called Dinheiro, which is, Brazilian Portuguese for money. And you could interpret it as a metaphor on the hyperinflation, because that was in the hyperinflation times when I was there. It was a very interesting experience. All kinds of, animated coins, real coins. And we did a short animated sequences drawn on bills, on banknotes. So I started doing films about money very early. And also my interest in Austrian economy and the whole criticism of the monetary system came through BitFilm, because in 2009, we had the idea to do some kind of cooperative movie, working with many animators all over the world at the same movie, which never really worked, but we found we had to think about a topic that, everybody could relate to. And we said, either it has to be love, but there's so many love movies already, or maybe money, because everybody has a story to tell about money. So and yes, that was the very naive idea. I didn't know that much about it, but I read many books, and I stumbled across, Murray Rothbard and, Hayek and all those old guys, and talked to interesting people. And I really got more and more drawn into it. And I think I only heard about Bitcoin in 2011, but I was very open to all kinds of, new monetary systems. And before that, I thought about maybe combining digital currency with gold, but somebody already did that, and it was, I think, rated e-gold. So in the beginning, I was a bit skeptical about Bitcoin. It's not backed by gold. All these kind of more old-fashioned Austrian economists, they probably have the same problems with Bitcoin. It took me a while to really understand that it does not have to be backed by anything, that it has the qualities of gold, and that makes it special. So even in, I think, 2011, we already showed that, the film What is Bitcoin in a festival, and we asked for donations and offered to pay out the prize money. So we made some small experiments. Last time we did kind of Bitcoin-based voting. It wasn't a big success, but it was good to try out things. And this year we decided.
How did that work? Can you tell me more about that? About the Bitcoin-based voting?
The idea was that every film had its own Bitcoin address, and people would transfer money to the film they like most, and the film with the most money would win. It simply didn't have so much traction. Yeah? People were still a bit, they didn't transfer that much money. So it was okay to try it out, but I think we wouldn't do it like that this time. And this year I really had to make the decision, because I think last year I decided I really want to focus all my time and energy into Bitcoin, because I think it's so fascinating. And, just running a digital film festival, it's okay. It's also not a big business. It's more like, I wouldn't call it a hobby, but it's, you will definitely not get rich from it. And it's a very interesting thing to do, and it's fun, but it's always a lot of work, to get the sponsors and all that. So I was really at the point whether not just to stop the festival, but we did it for 14 years, and it's, kind of our teenage baby grown into a teenager. It's kind of a established brand, so it would be a pity. And then I said, why not do a film festival just about films about Bitcoin? Because there are, probably not so many that you can fill a whole week, but we're thinking about just a one-day event, maybe from the afternoon to the late night, and then travel with it. So we already have 3 stops. We have Berlin, obviously. We have Seoul in Korea. We have Buenos Aires. We're talking with other cities, and if you know somebody in a city and who wants to organize their own BitFilm event, we're happy to cooperate.
So coming soon to a city near you.
Absolutely. That's the idea. I really wanted to be kind of open source and reach as many people as possible, and we might go there and visit or not. Maybe somebody just they will get the films, they will get the support and whatever advertising material, and then be responsible for getting the venue packed and getting the press. Yeah. And I think there are many good films.
Those events are always a really good way to meet other people too. Like if you go to an event that's a Bitcoin film festival, you're pretty much guaranteed to meet other people who are just as passionate about Bitcoin as you are. And, maybe collaborations come from that, friendships, business partnerships. Who knows? It's always that way with networking events where you never know who you're going to meet.
Absolutely. But we think that we want to reach people who might have heard about Bitcoin, who might be interested, but who would not go to meetup, who would not go to conference, who think, oh, it's all too geeky for me. But they would go to a film festival because films are, they're fun and easy to understand usually. So we were not mainly talking to the insiders, to the people who already go to Bitcoin meetups. Of course, they're all welcome and invited, but the real goal of that festival is to reach a broader audience. Also reach a different kind of journalists, not the usual finance, tech, economy journalists, but more the, culture, city life guys. So really reach different people, huh?
So absolutely. So I was going to ask if these are timed to coincide with Bitcoin conferences, but maybe not. Maybe that's not really the goal.
Well, we did choose the date of the Buenos Aires event to be close to the Rio conference. So we said, let's do it 1 week before the weekend. So if somebody wants to travel to South America, they can do, Buenos Aires 1 weekend, then go to Rio and go to the conference. And we're considering to maybe have the award show at the conference, because that makes sense, because many people will come anyway, and hopefully you will be there. We could do that. Well, so far we are standalone events, and we have a very nice venue in Berlin and Seoul, which is the Platoon, which is made out of freight containers. It's a very unique venue, and it exists only in Berlin and Seoul. And we did a screening in Seoul last year, and we actually started our Bitcoin exchange in Berlin in that venue. So it's a very special place, and it has its followership. So I think it fits well. So that's why we have Berlin and Seoul kind of taken for granted. And Buenos Aires.
Before you go on, Aaron, I'm curious.
Sure.
Maybe you could just tell me a little bit about the Bitcoin scene in Berlin. I mean, it's kind of well known for being an active area as far as Bitcoin activity goes. But you actually are one of the organizers of the Bitcoin Exchange Berlin. Tell me what's going on in the city and in the Bitcoin community there.
Yeah, well, we have the so-called Bitcoin Kiez. Kiez is a very Berlin expression for a neighborhood, an urban neighborhood. And I think it used to have the highest density of brick and mortar stores accepting Bitcoins. It might have changed. I know that now in Netherlands there's something going on, Bitcoin Boulevard, but it's still pretty impressive. You can just walk around in a small neighborhood and get all kinds of goods and services for Bitcoin, beers and burgers. So it's a nice area. And there's a monthly meetup in the oldest Bitcoin accepting place, I think, in the world, where you can get burgers and burritos and all that, the Room 77. Then there's a bi-weekly meetup, which is more, startups present what they do. It's quite techy, and they're investors. It's a nice one. And we are more for the beginners. I mean, we do it now weekly. We started monthly. Basically, we took the idea from Joshua Rossi. Yeah? I read it in New York Times about the Satoshi Square in New York. Said, wow, that's such a simple, great idea. And I asked him, hey, do you mind if we do the same thing in Berlin? He said, yeah, sure, go for it. And we only changed the name because we didn't want to have that insider's name. So it's a little bit, more like an insider's expression. And we added some visuals, like we wear bowler hats. The sellers get bowler hats, and we have chalk blackboards where you can write the price and with chalk. So all these like old-fashioned analog accessoires, and the media love it, of course. So when the TV team comes, they always shoot the guys with the hats or the girls and the blackboards. So that worked out pretty well. Now, as we changed the concept to have a weekly event, it's not that special anymore. Before, we tried to always have some guest speaker from abroad, and now we thought we'd just focus on, trading and buying and selling Bitcoin, not for business purpose. We have no idea how much they trade. We don't get a commission. It's really not a business purpose from our side. It's really to reach people. Everybody asks, hey, where can I get the Bitcoins and how does it work? And the easiest way to explain to people is they just do it. And sometimes they just come and buy Bitcoins for whatever, 10 euros. That's fine. We also saw people buying Bitcoins for thousands of euros, but we don't care. We have a very strict don't know your customer policy. And
I love it.
We're not a commercial exchange. We're just, it's more a PR. It's a PR event, networking event, educational event, say. So
yeah, absolutely. That's really cool.
We will never get bankrupt. We'll never, get no bitcoins will ever get lost at BXB. So we can be sure about that.
Right, because no one person has them. Very decentralized. So speaking of outreach and education, obviously you are a multilingual person. Do you ever do any translation of Bitcoin educational materials into German or into other languages?
Most of the films are made in English. So then somebody has to help us to transform my poor school English into like proper English. Usually the voiceover actors help a lot, as you might know. Sometimes we have, for instance, now we have a client that wanted to have it in German and English, and maybe in the future also other languages. I mean, that's not too difficult. It's mostly the length, German is usually a bit longer than English, and French even more, and so that's the biggest challenge, I think. But most of the time, it's English, because most of the companies, they want to reach the whole world, and so we like to have English with foreign accents. So I think the very first film about Bitcoin that we did was for a German platform, bitcoin.de, and they have this claim, Bitcoin marketplace made in Germany. So we convinced them to really kind of play with that Germanness, and we have all German stereotypes in it, and that boring professor talking with a very heavy accent and his Robert Bolham, and some people might have seen that one. It was actually my voice. I mean, I can really speak with a very, very bad German accent if I want to, even worse than now.
And you can see a lot of examples of Aaron's work at bitfilm.com. It's very simple URL, very memorable. Yeah.
So some more stuff will come. I mean, I think the video trailer for the Rio conference we did is not online yet because it hasn't been published by them. But yeah. And we have more works under production. Now, it's quite interesting that so far we've mostly worked with animation. So we work with animators in India and Eastern European countries, because usually the budgets are kind of limited. So we have to find a way to produce high quality even for relatively low budgets. Musicians in Argentina. But now more and more people come and also want live action with actors, which is interesting, new challenge.
Right. Yeah. So, just for full disclosure for the audience here, I have actually worked with Aaron before as a voice actor for some of his films. So if you go to bitfilm.com, you can hear some examples of some of the projects we've done together. But really, it is a global thing. I mean, bringing together just musicians and animators and voice actors from all over the world, and sometimes with Aaron participating himself, which is kind of cool.
Usually we pay people in Bitcoin, so it works pretty well. I mean, just sending files around. It's the cool thing, it doesn't really matter where I am. I happen to be in Berlin now. I also was for a month in Tel Aviv, also to explore the Bitcoins, and it just worked from there, just normally. I will probably spend the winter in the European winter in South America, which is summer, which I prefer. So it's a great thing. I mean, to have this kind of global network and to be able to, and usually our clients are from all over the place, also many from the United States and whatever, Israel. And we're not really, I mean, we are officially a German registered company, but I think I'm the only German who works first. And so it's more like international quality that we produce.
Yeah. And just speaking as a freelancer or as a self-employed person, sometimes it can take, a month to get a check from a client who wants to pay you in fiats. And it can be kind of a problem sometimes, because if you're waiting on a payment and you got bills to pay or whatever, that can be a little bit stressful. If I have a client like Aaron, who's a kind of a dream client, he can pay me right away in Bitcoin just by sending it, and it's there in 2 seconds. So
that's because you're my dream voice actor, and of course I want to treat you well, and hope that it can work again. Of course. Oh,
thank you. So tell me a little bit more about the upcoming BitFilm Festival and what you've decided to do differently with the token this year.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it started actually because Amos, we worked first with Amos Meri. Amos from Tel Aviv. We did the film for Colored Coins, and Amos was kind of managing that. And, he obviously liked it, and he started his own company, which is now called My Powers. I think he's changed the name several times, as we had to change it in the film. And we did a film for them. So we explained the concept with a short animation, and that's how we start to work together. And then
and the concept of that company, by the way, is basically user created assets. These little tokens that you can create that can be whatever you want them to be, essentially. They can be redeemable for merchandise or for future rewards in your company. It kind of, I'm being a little vague here, but I'm sure if you've listened to Let's Talk Bitcoin before, you've heard the concept of user-created assets that are these little tokens that companies can use for kind of whatever, or individuals can use for whatever they want to reward their supporters.
Exactly, yeah. And that's what we try out. We'll see how it works. We just launched it yesterday, so let's see how it... I mean, we had the idea to kind of... it's always the problem to get the festival funded. And we have, one sponsor for sure, and with others we negotiate. But, getting the money is usually always the hardest part. And then I talked with my friend Margot from New York and said, why don't you do crowdfunding campaign? And then I talked with Amos, and we will use that. I mean, it's not so much about getting money, of course. It's one aspect. I think even more important is the building the community and interacting, and everybody can, have special access to VIP dinner, or they will get some little merchandise. So you can check it out on the MyPowers website, what you will get for how many coins. And of course, it's not a real altcoin. The name may be a little bit confusing. I mean, probably the most appropriate expression would be share, but then we would get, of course, there would get a lot of legal problems, the SEC, because shares are so regulated. But that's the original idea. So you somehow become a kind of shareholder in a company or in a person or in a project. But we should better not call it like that. And of course, you don't get a part of the profit. It's more something, more idealistic. You will get, of course, a festival pass, and you get maybe a T-shirt if you get more coins, or you even have some kind of very special geek jeans with water repellent fabric and a special smartphone pocket, really cool, from Croatia. So it depends on how many coins you put into that project, and the more coins the more you get, and also you get more voting rights. So we have that very democratic principle of one coin, one vote. So if you have one coin, you have one vote. If you have 32 coins, you have 32 votes. I think that's only fair.
Let's explore this a little bit more deeply just for a moment here. I'm actually looking at mypowers.com right now, which is the platform that you've launched the BitFilm coin on. And they've got a section where you can look at all the different coins that are on their platform, including Tatiana coin and a couple of other ones that haven't launched quite yet. But BitFilm coin is up there and it's available. So if you click on it, it says the price per coin, which is 50 millibits per coin. And you've got 4 coins issued so far, which it just launched. So of course, there's not too many out there yet. But so if someone goes to that website and wants to support the Bitcoin Film Festival or buy one of your coins, how does that work for them, and what do they get for it?
Yes, it's very easy to buy it. Just, a few Bitcoins that they transfer. It's quite easy to use. And for one BitFilm coin, you get a free festival pass for the city of your choice. You have a vote, and you will get a discount on all kinds of future things that we will launch in the future, because you will keep the coin. It's not that you have to spend the coin. You keep it as you get a share. And because you put in some money, you will get something in return, but you will also get something in the future. If you own 3 BitFilm coins, you will be a BitFilm buff, and you get that special Robot Girl T-shirt and the pass and 3 votes and so forth. If you have 8 coins, you get the T-shirt and that special WTF Geek Jeans and a festival pass and 8 votes. If you own 16 coins, you will be invited to a VIP dinner in the city of your choice with directors and producers, and can feel important and have a look behind the scenes and all the other stuff, jeans and T-shirt, so on. And for 32 coins, you can be a producer and create your own BitFilm event. I mean, that's one model, that you can just have the coins and you get all the revenues that whatever local sponsors or ticket sales or drinks or whatever. So you can just keep it. So we'll see how people will react to these different packages. We might add more options, but for us, it's more like a little experiment and trying to talk to the Bitcoin community in a different way. And if we get some money from it, fine. I mean, we'll put it in the festival and hopefully be able to invite people and be generous. It's not a really for-profit thing, this whole festival. Just the more money we have, the more money we can spend, and we can give out free drinks, and that's the idea. Otherwise, we have to be a bit, more modest, but it's also fun.
Yeah, I see you've posted in the event page here if you have a festival pass, which you can get by buying a BitFilm coin, then you're going to get a free ride to the festival venue in Berlin with Uber, whether the government likes it or not.
Yeah, it's quite funny because today Uber was forbidden in Germany by some silly court.
No.
Yeah, it's absurd. Yeah, and Uber says we don't care, we do it anyway. And we like the free market. We don't like government monopolies. So we wanted to. I don't think that Uber needs our support. Yeah, but we want to show that we are absolutely for free market and against those kind of silly dinosaur protection methods that the German courts have here. So on purpose, we chose. Actually, we approached Uber and said, "Hey, don't you want to be our mobility partners?" Because we have this discussion here. It was forbidden in Berlin and in Hamburg. And then some court ruled it over, and then now there's some kind of federal court. It's very silly. But, this is Germany. It's completely overregulated and very statist, and lots of work to do for a libertarian-minded person here in Germany. So, all the parties in the parliament, they're more or less socialist. Yeah, there's just little graduations of it. They call themselves conservatives, but they are so damn socialist statist. It's kind of, and of course, I think it's impossible to really understand Bitcoin and not be libertarian or voluntarist, or however you would call that. Because Bitcoin is essentially so anti-establishment, anti-government, anti-state, and that's good. I think it's good for the world, for the people, and for the. So it's not just for business reasons or that I like the tech about Bitcoin. It's a very political mission for me to be, to help foster the BitFilm economy and BitFilm ecosystem. And of course, also the festival will. The one thing that we definitely show is probably as the opener is the Declaration of Independence. I think you also participate in it, the one by Julia Turiansky, and
yes,
we will have some cute little animations. Our own animation, of course, will be out of competition. We might show them in an extra thing, but documentaries, all that kind of thing. But we definitely want to make sure that people get the real message, not about, compliance and whatever and regulation, but what Bitcoin is really about. And it's about freedom.
Yeah.
It's about empowering people. The Declaration of Independence will probably, set the tone for the festival. I really like that. It's not the greatest film, in technical terms. Yeah? But the content is good. So, and the people are good.
Right on. Yeah, there you go. I like that. I like that spirit. So, getting back to the BitFilm coin, I'm looking at this page right here, and it's kind of reminiscent of a Kickstarter campaign where you have different levels of rewards based on how much you put in. But the key difference is that you get to keep that token, and you can hold on to it forever. Excellent. So in the future, if there's other film festivals or other whatever you want, any kind of event, you could even use BitFilm coins to offer discounts on, your services for film production or something to do with the Berlin Bitcoin meetups. The possibilities are kind of endless.
So you could trade them. BitFilm coins will be freely tradable. They're working on the trading model. I think it's not online yet, but it's announced. So you could trade BitFilm coins for Tatiana coins or Stephanie coins or whatever. Let's talk BitFilm coins. So let's see. How our market value will develop. So it's a very interesting concept. I really like what Amos is doing there, and we'll see what will come out of it.
Yeah. So, I have a couple of scenarios that I'm imagining here. So far, you have 4 backers, and obviously there are going to be more, but you've got 4 immediately after the release. And it says you've got about 2,096 BitFilm coins remaining. So you've capped the amount at 3,000 BitFilm coins? Is that
no, 2,100. 2,100. Okay. It's like the 21 million just cutting away from some coins. It's that's Satoshi. And we wanted to have more smaller numbers, right? 1 coin, not I think Tatiana coins. You have 10,000 Tatiana coins, and then she sings for you, whatever. And we'd rather have smaller quantities. So we decided let's have 50 millibitcoins as a price and have these small packages. But it's completely our choice. And we have, of course, we have limited. There's a limited amount.
What are you expecting people to buy? If you have just a few backers, but they all get 32 BitFilm coins each, and they each have their own rights to have dinner with you and make their own BitFilm event, and if all of your backers support at the highest level, what happens versus what if all your backers support at the lowest level and they all get one Bitfilm coin? Are you expecting kind of a stratification of the level at which people are going to support?
I have no idea. I think so. Yeah, we'll just be surprised. We'll see. I mean, the people might think, okay, but if one guy buys all whatever, Satoshi comes and buys all the 2,100 coins because for him it's just peanuts, and then he will just have all the votes for the festival and vote for the film. Okay, so be it. I mean, that's the free market, right? I mean, why not? Everybody has the right to buy as many coins as they want.
Then you still have your funding.
It's okay. I mean, it's really, the funding is really not the most important point. Of course, we're happy if we sell lots of coins, but it's, it's more the experience. It's more that we can do this and try it out and see what happens. And if many people will go for that VIP dinner and everybody wants to have dinner with me, fine. I mean, I like to have dinner and I like to meet interesting people. Nothing against it. And, it's easy. There are plenty of T-shirts and festival. Well, of course, we had to limit the amount of coins also because there's simply limited space in the venues. We couldn't have sold 21 million coins. That. Sure, there's a certain limit. And what we will do, I mean, now we have 3 stops so far, and we want to add more. We're negotiating with several cities, and so hopefully it comes to a city near you. Probably not the small ones. It's probably more the bigger ones, like Berlin, Buenos Aires. That maybe I'd love to do something in, let's say, New York or LA for US listeners. But we'll have to see. We have to find somebody who then is in charge and who knows the local market, who knows the media. I mean, we cannot organize it from here. It would be impossible. We can just provide the films, provide the framework, but somebody has to be there on ground and be in charge, be responsible. And it's not that complicated, actually. You have to have a nice venue. You have to know some people, maybe have some, meetup groups already. And then you send an invite, and it shouldn't be that complicated to organize it. I mean, these days, all the films are digital. You need some kind of reasonable video projector and a white wall, and that's about it. And then you sell some drinks, and maybe you get some local sponsors. So I don't think it's that complicated to organize it. But it has to be following that self-organization principle. Otherwise, I mean, we will not organize a world tour. And the venues that we have already, it happened more because, in Buenos Aires, it will be in the Espacio Bitcoin, which is, the Bitcoin embassy, so to speak. And they're friends, so it was just easy they have this amazing 4-story building in the center of Buenos Aires with several Bitcoin companies in there and the foundation, and they have a big room and they have a roof terrace, and I've got some friends in Argentina who will help me to organize the event.
It's for sure that you're going to have these 3 events at the venues that you've already scheduled. Yes. But if you raise additional funds through this crowd sale of Bitfilm coins, then you can add on more events and you can make the existing events bigger and you can offer perks to the people who backed you.
Absolutely. It's not that much about finding funds. It's more about finding the people. If somebody says, hey, I want to organize a Bitfilm festival in Lebanon, New Hampshire, I mean, we're absolutely open to any kind of cooperation, be it whatever, revenue share or a little guarantee, but whatever. But it's not that much. If we get additional funds, it will be really more for having a bit more money to spend on advertising and being able to invite people for, if you have a party that you get drinks for free, things like that we can fly in directors and producers to talk about their works. I mean, that's the things that simply cost money.
Right.
So, but organizing an event on a let's say on a modest scale, if you have, for instance, as a Buenos Aires center, it's already there. They have a room, they have a community. It's not such a big deal for them to set it up, and we just go there, show the films, and so it's not so much a matter of money actually. So it's more like people who like the idea would like to cooperate. So if anybody wants to do this, I mean, they should please, give out my email address, and they should contact me, and I'm very open to any kind of cooperation.
Cool. Well, you can email Aaron at Aaron, Aaron, at bitfilm.com.
It's a very simple, memorizable email address, I hope.
Exactly. So I have just a couple more questions about about Bitfilm coin. The first one is how long is this going to be available for? Is there a time limit on how long it is available, or is it kind of just going to go on in perpetuity?
Well, first there's a limit in coins. So this festival season, 14, which is the year 2014, but it's also a 14th festival because we started in 2000. That's the cap is on 2,100. So if they're sold, it's over. And then also because it's linked to the voting procedure, the voting will start when the real festival starts, so October 18th, Berlin, and it will be over shortly before the award ceremony. And if we set that for Rio, December 6th, then probably the voting will stop. Let's see, maybe December 1st, something like that. We haven't decided it yet. And then obviously, and we want people to be able to buy coins and take part in the voting until very last minute. But then there will be a moment where we cannot buy anymore.
Okay, so it's limited basically by the number of coins, and then there's the time frame on the voting.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
But there will be more coins probably next festival season. If you make a good experience with that, and we think we should do it again, then next year there will be a new batch of coins, and the old coins will, of course, still have the value. There will be discount on things, so maybe they have even a higher value, or maybe the coin price will be higher next year. We don't know. We have to decide that after this experience of this year. We don't plan that much ahead. That long ahead.
Yeah, well, you have to see how it goes. It's an experiment, like you said. So, and one more question. Right now, the price of one Bitfilm coin is 50 millibitcoins. So that's equivalent to, at the current exchange rate, that's about $24. So, that's about as much as you may spend to get into a film festival. That's kind of a good deal. And then you also have the token that you can hang on to for future events. But what happens if the Bitcoin exchange rate, changes dramatically, like during the course of when you're offering these coins? So like before all the coins get sold out, suddenly 50 millibitcoins is worth like $500 or something. What do you do then?
That's a very good question. I think we will decide then. But in any case, it's good to buy it now, because now you have that cheap price. And if you buy it later, I mean, even if we decide to kind of change something, we will always make sure that the early adopters, the early buyers, will definitely have a benefit from it. That's the volatile nature of Bitcoin. That it poses some new problems, I think, for everybody. I mean, for all peer-to-peer lending. I mean, Bitcoin is special and is different, and most of the time I like it. I mean, and I definitely expect the Bitcoin price, the Bitcoin exchange rate to go up at the end of the year. I mean, if the pattern repeats itself, I mean, there's no guarantee for that. But we always had this pattern of a very, the kind of rally, the peak, and then certain downfall, and the media always made a bit fuss about it, but it was still always like 5 or whatever, 10 times more than before. Then it was a certain plateau and several months of not much happening, and then a new rally and a new peak, and this happened, I don't know how many times. I think I have seen it for 3 times, and somebody told me there was the same development even in 2009 and 10, and then the Bitcoin price went up to 50 cents, and everybody said, "Oh God, this is a bubble, and credit will never be like that again." And then $1, and then $30, and $1.50, and we had $1,000, and we probably see, I don't know, $5,000 by the end of this year. And yes, of course, we don't want people to pay $5,000 to go into a film festival. I mean, then we'll probably have some kind of, I don't know, maybe they can bring their friends, or we give a discount. We don't know, but we definitely want to have a fair solution then. But that's the kind of luxury problems. I mean, people who have Bitcoins, who will have that experience that they have 10 Bitcoins, and it's okay. But then at the end of the year, they are really rich with having 10 Bitcoins. I mean, they will not be really sad of having spent 0.05 Bitcoins for us. I mean, I don't think like that. I mean, I remember when I was in Room 77 in 2011, and I spent probably 1 Bitcoin 50 for a beer. And if you think it, if you think of it now, it sounds like crazy. But then it was okay. It was just It was just a normal price, and I think people are not that oversensitive about these things, as long as in the long run, I mean, your wealth doesn't decay, and you keep more value than you spend. I think people are okay with it, but we definitely try to give them a fair deal. I mean, that's for sure.
Right on. Okay, cool. Well, I think that's all the questions I have. can you just run down real quickly the dates for each of these 3 upcoming BitFilm festivals?
Yeah.
And tell people one more time your website and how they can get in touch with you.
Yes. It will start October 18th in Berlin, Germany. The second date will be November 8 in Seoul, Korea, both in the Platoon Kunsthalle, which is kunsthalle.com. Kunsthalle means art hall in German. And then in Buenos Aires, it'll be November 29th, just 1 week before the Rio conference. And if you do something with Rio, I mean, the Rio conference, December 6 and 7, I think it will be the best conference of the year. At least the Buenos Aires conference last year was, for me, the best one of the year. And it's more or less the same masterminds behind it. It's the Latin American guys. And, you just can have a lot of fun in Latin America. You can network. People are great. It's summer. It's Rio. That's the beach. And I think everybody who does not go to the Rio conference in December, they will really miss something. And hopefully they will even miss they will not. They will not miss the award show of the Bitcoin conference. It's not confirmed yet, but I'm very positive that we'll do it there. And, I mean, we Germans have very good memories of doing something in Rio de Janeiro. And I think having that at the climax of the festival this year. You're not that much into football, what you call soccer, right? But somebody might know that we just became world champions in Brazil, in Rio. And so we kind of like it. So we will definitely have Rio as the final stop. And you can go to www.bitfilm.com/festival. If you leave the festival, you can go to the page where all our commercial films are. And from there, of course, you find a link. You just click on that sexy robot girl. And you go to the MyPowers website. Or just go to mypowers.com and follow that yellow coin with a BitFilm on it. I think it's easy to find.
Great. Okay, Aaron, thank you so much. This has been really fun to talk with you. And I hope I will get a chance to go to one of these BitFilm festivals and see it in person.
Go to all of them, please.
Cool.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Let's Talk Bitcoin. Content for today's episode was provided by Stephanie, Aaron, and Adam. This episode was edited by Adam Levine, and music was provided by Jared Rubens and General Fuzz. See you next time.